Items to be considered at the regular meeting of the Board of Education held Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. in the Unit Office Conference Room, 500 North 10th Street, Herrin, Illinois, 62948. If everybody would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brooke, would you please call roll?
John Hutchinson. Here. Susie Etherton. Here. Daniel Kay.
Here.
Kelly Green.
Here.
Steve Young. Dave Louts.
Here.
Steve Robinson.
Here.
At this time, we'll recognize anybody who would like to address the board. When recognized, that person should give their name before making their comments. Statements are asked to be limited to 5 minutes in duration. Would anybody like to address the board at this time? If not, we'll move on. Need a motion, a second, and a roll call vote to adopt, accept, and approve items listed and not extracted from the consent agenda on Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024.
Daniel Kay.
Yes.
John Hutchinson.
Yes.
Kelly Green.
Yes.
Dave Louts.
Yes.
Susie Etherton.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Steve Young.
Yes.
Under old business, we have an update on district construction projects. Mr. Sims, do you have an update for us?
Yes, I talked with Brad Kaiser, the site superintendent today. He evidently went home from the site sick. So I asked him to give me his update. I told him I would give it here at the meeting. He said that the cooler installation has been completed by the kitchen equipment contractor and that they're going to be pouring the floor inside, that they have to pour an additional 4 inches of floor to get it level with the rest of the floor. So that's going to happen tomorrow. The west sidewalks are to be poured. We had some additional sidewalk work design done by Ryan Farley to extend that down. You see where they've demoed that out and extended down and put another handicap ramp in there. He let us know that the city was going to be replacing sidewalks on the west side of that street. So he would like to go ahead and have that done now as well. So that was taken care, or will be taken care of tomorrow. The gym floor is to be poured Monday. It's a separate contractor for that because it has like a laser precision to it so that everything is perfectly level. So that's going to be happening Monday. They are pushing the HVAC contractor to get the air diffusers and returns installed. All of the grid is installed inside and the lighting has been installed, but they need to get them in there and get their duct work done and start to get the building acclimated with heat and humidity with their temporary controls on that before they start to put finishes in. So they're pushing them on that. I said the lights are installed. And once they get the temporary heating and humidity controls going and can control all that, the flooring and finishes will be installed. Marion Glass is going to be on site this week to start the windows. All the materials are in. The epoxy flooring and the wainscot is going to start again as soon as those temperature controls are maintained. And I'm told the ephes on the outside, those are the parts that you can still see the concrete block. That's going to start here in the next week or so. They need to get that done prior to winter really setting in because you don't want to have, it's kind of like doing mortar in freezing conditions and stuff. That's got a lot of water to it, so you don't want that to freeze. So Mr. Louts asked about the kitchen and the cafeteria. If they can get that stuff going and get those finishes in there, and we can get the kitchen equipment people back in to install the equipment. I know some of it's been delivered, but they've had a lot of questions about quantities, and I keep sending them the drawings.
Since February of 24.
Yes. So I still have concerns about how many times that's been handed off there, but if we can get them back in there and make those final connections, I don't see any reason why they couldn't do December for that cafeteria. But then again, I would have thought they would be done by now. So, I mean, they're going to have to press and really stay on the pedal. So.
Yeah, once we get the windows in, the big front glass there on the cafeteria, I mean, obviously that's going to help get everything dried in, which then allow those finishing acclimation, temperature, and stuff to take place in the finishing touches. So if you walk through it, I mean, you can see it. I mean, there is some painting that's been done.
Well, and I don't know if you've been through it since the lighting got installed.
No.
I mean, it looks really good.
It's really close.
You just got to get the finishes in there.
Yeah.
The flooring and the ceiling pads. And all
Who is the party to kind of kick them in the butt to drive that if there are
delays or hiccups?
Well, be H.E. Mitchell is the general on that. They're the party to really, if it's a subcontractor, like with the HVAC controls, that's why we was saying today, like I drove by there today and he was talking, it's A&K, right?
About A&W.
A&W, thank you. Yeah, wrong group. A&W, and he was talking with A&W about, we gotta get this HVAC stuff finished up like Steve was just mentioning, so we can get the temperature climate controlled in there and be ready to go, so we can get these finishing touches
And
done.
like back when we had the initial bad delay, it was the metal building manufacturer and the concrete. And they actually provided letters after you guys had threatened. I mean, they were already threatened to sue them and take them to court even way back in.
This time last year.
Yeah, this time last year.
Yeah.
To get them going and get them on site and get them adhering to their separate contracts, their subcontracts.
So,
Well, I would expect though that the sequencing, I appreciate that a delay on a foundational issue is gonna cause issues all upstream. So everyone else that was relying on being able to meet a mark.
Right.
You know, let's say they have materials that they had to purchase that may have changed in the interim. I don't know, but that causes delays or difficulties for
It
delivery
does. It causes
downstream.
difficulties all the way through. Now, the way those are structured, they don't get to come back and unless there's like COVID where you've got an act of, it's not really an act of God, but you've got extenuating circumstances. The way the contract's built, they don't get to come back because of their own delay and ask for material increases. The general doesn't. But like you said, one contractor starts to delay it. Everybody that's on that project was not expecting to still be there. All of them. And I wasn't either.
Right.
And so they've got complaints that go all the way back to the concrete contractor and the metal building supplier. But ultimately, it's H.E. Mitchell that is the leader of that whole circus of those subcontracts because you don't have contracts.
So do we have some degree of confidence that they're, I would say, really motivated to kind of kick the others in the butt to make sure that these marks are being hit?
I think so
Yeah.
because they're losing money every
Yeah,
day.
it's costing
H.E.
them
Mitchell
now.
is losing their money.
Yeah, so the faster they can get it done, there's a financial incentive to them to get it finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they've got to get it done to get that 10%, as well as all of the subcontractors that we withhold from every pay request.
Right.
At the end, when it's all said and done, you're still sitting on 10% of that contract, which will be $650,000 that we won't release until we're satisfied everything's done. And I have
They've
to
already
vote on
asked
it.
for a
They
part
asked
of
for a
that.
reduction and we said no.
No, not happening. So, yeah.
And they tried to claim that there's some state
Some new
statute. And we sent
statute.
it along and said, please have your attorney look at this because I don't think
It doesn't apply to them, so, or us. So anyway, yeah, there's a major financial incentive, well, better than $500,000 for them to get this done.
All right, thank you.
And then I've got a quick update on the pre-K.
Go for it.
I went through and just looked at our job observers report from this morning. The drywall's finishing up inside. Exterior is almost complete. They were actually there cleaning up the debris.
It looks good if you've not get a chance to drive by Weaver Road, the pre-K center. They got the drive-in on the outside now all the way down the front. It
And
looks
they
nice.
actually, when we were there last meeting, they had taken the finish off of the existing, and I stopped them and I said, that's not part of your contract. You're not getting paid for that. And they said, no, it just looked really bad and we wouldn't be able to match the colors. So they went back and skim coated it and repainted the existing ethos. So, and then they're pretty close. They were talking about getting their temporary heating and air in there too.
Yeah.
Because we cautioned them that I've cautioned both of them that the warranties do not start until substantial completion. So don't even try to say that you've started up the HVAC system to acclimate that. It's in the temporary controls and measures and the spec. You have to do something temporary for that. If you use the main units, you got to clean them, and then the manufacturer has to come back in and bless them before you start the warranties. And we won't accept it being sooner than the substantial completion, which is when you take over use of the space. And they both understood that.
let me go back to the junior high just real quick. Is there a concern with the HVAC that they're not going to be able to get in there? So that's going to further delay that,
I
or?
don't think so. I think they're just pushing them.
Okay.
They're screaming at them. And
The HVACs are set on top. It's the interior
it's
pieces.
getting the ductwork,
Right.
flex duct and stuff hooked up to those so they can get good distribution. And I think it's just, they're telling everybody, get in here on this schedule so we can maintain this. And A&W has not been a problem. They've done the plumbing and the heating and air on this. So
Do
they've not
do
been.
those HVAC units that you're talking about, those sit on top of the?
The rooftop units.
I've noticed and I don't know about the aesthetic for the junior high, and maybe they're just prominent in what I see is that would there normally be a,
Parapet.
no, I guess something that would hide or shield those from view, because we don't have that, and now you can see those sit proud above each classroom. There's
Right.
this big silver box,
Yeah.
and you don't see that in most other structures, commercial structures that would have that, and it just dawned on me that's because they probably have that extra wall that conceals that.
Well, and like on the backside of the junior high, for example, over the old part, that was never designed for HVAC units, let alone big rooftop units that were there. So when they went back and added those, there was no screening or parapet, and if they had done, yeah.
All right.
Well, what we did on the junior high here was we extended the outside wall up 3 or 4 feet beyond the roof line
Right.
to try to hide that. And you don't hide it all.
It's like when you come up on Statler,
Yeah.
Right.
coming up, you'll see a
And
Back.
there's a
Nice.
peak, and we're trying to hide as much of what we've added as we can. And we didn't put the units on top of the gym. We put the units that serve the gym on top of the cafeteria, and we're
I
gonna
see.
feed that in from the sides,
I see.
because I don't like to see them either.
I see.
So,
Okay. All right.
but like on the backside of it, I think they probably couldn't put any kind of a parapet or a screen on there, because then you're even more overloading the existing structure. And you found what happened at Northside when we got up there to replace those. They never even added structure when they did that. So we had to add more structure for the new units that went on there. We're actually lighter than the existing
Right.
to make sure that it met the codes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Sims? Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate it.
Okay, moving on to the special report, student and faculty accomplishments for Northside Primary Center. The September class attendance winner was Mrs. Houseworth with 96.88%. The September student perfect attendance and no tardies is Tyir Hyman in first grade. 53 students at Northside Primary Center have perfect attendance during the first quarter, and they would like to extend a thank you to the Herrin High School administration for working with them on sending athletes to welcome the students into the building on Friday, October 4th. The students loved meeting the athletes. Moving on to the elementary school, the attendance awards. Congratulations to the following classes with the best attendance percentages for September. In second grade, Mrs. Thompson had a 97.5%. In third, Mr. Milliken had 99.1%. Fourth grade, Mrs. Milliken had 99.3%, and in fifth grade, Mrs. Moore had 99%. Herrin Elementary had 411 out of 710 students with perfect attendance for September. The Timely Tigers group is an attendance-focused group. They started the year with 65 students in the group. These students are in our truancy process or had difficulty with attendance last year. However, we recently held a graduation for 28 students who have attended perfectly or almost flawlessly from August until now. They had a pizza party for the 19 Timely Tiger students with perfect attendance for September. Accelerated Reader Program. Students were encouraged to read and take AR tests to earn points. A trophy was given at each grade level. The following classes won the Accelerated Reader Award for September. Second was Mrs. Hardwig. Third, Mrs. Sparanio. Fourth, Ms. Jostin. And fifth, Ms. Trexler. The following students are the top 5 readers for September. Fifth place was Jillian Davis with 28.5 points. Fourth place, Elijah Carr with 30.3 points. Third place, Raina Acrae with 37.3 points. Second place, Stefania Marlowe with 71.3 points. And first place was Jonah Davis with 100.4 points. Congratulations to the students who won the Respect Award for September. These students are now showing respect for their peers and their teachers. And moving on to the junior high school. The Timely Tiger Attendance Program, facilitated by Mrs. Kane and Mrs. Mallow, promoted 13 of its members from the program because of their outstanding improvements with attendance. Students received a certificate and coupons to McDonald's and Texas Roadhouse. The Herrin Junior High School perfect attendance percentage for the month of September was 43%. September students of the month for the Tiger Trait of Respect were Connor Youngblood, Paisley Green, Arias Stortzum, Tegan Cullum, Emery Hartman, Amaya Smelton, Jalen Davis Turner, Amanda Coulter, and Philip Gottschalk. Additionally, 2 staff members were also spotlighted by other staff for their outstanding work, and that was Mrs. Dennison and Mr. Gibson. For cross country, on Thursday, October 10th, the boys and girls cross country teams participated in regionals at Marion. The boys team qualified for state, along with Matilda King qualifying for the girls. At the state meet on Saturday, October 19th, there were 30 schools that participated in both the boys and girls races. The boys team consisted of Max Mazanik, who finished the 4th place overall and set a personal record, Carter Krotz, who finished in 5th place overall and set a personal record, Caleb McCrae, who finished in 10th place overall and set a personal record, Jacob Jolliffe, who set a personal record, Colton Ogden, who set a personal record, Adam Pham, and Ezra Skaggs. The team finished in 2nd place out of the 15 teams represented at the state meet. Matilda King finished in 12th place out of 127 girls, as well as setting a personal record for herself on the state course. Congratulations to our Herrin Junior High School students. And then at the Herrin High School, volleyball, the Herrin Lady Tigers won the 26th Annual Herrin Invitational. Boys cross country, the Herrin Tigers won the River to River Conference Championship. Braden Davis placed 2nd. Nolan Frost placed 3rd. Waylon Hall placed 4th. Mason King placed 7th. And Mason King placed 9th.
Typo there. He read twice.
So he apparently cloning is legal now. So girls tennis, Reese Elias is headed to state this week. Girls cross country, Ellery Blakely placed 3rd in the conference championship. Boys golf, Carver Hall placed in the top 10 at regionals and participated in sectionals. And for football, members of the Herrin football team visited Herrin Elementary School and Northside Primary Center to welcome students and participate in their good behavior activity. Congratulations to all of our Tigers. Good work. Moving on to new business. We need a motion, second, and roll call vote to approve the addendum to the high school activities and athletics handbook as presented.
Kelly Green,
Yes.
Daniel Kay, Susie Etherton,
Yes.
Steve Robinson,
Yes.
Dave Louds,
Yes.
Steve Young,
Yes.
John Hutchinson.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson, you have information on the LEA special education determination?
Yes, last year when we received our LEA special education determination, we were basically non-compliant, and we had to go through a year-long process of a data accountability team that met. Several people in this room are part of that team to try to find ways to better perform when it comes to special education students being part of a regular education setting. While some of those changes have helped us, this data is a couple of years old, but for this year, the important thing is we are meeting requirements. We have been moving things in the right direction. So going from last year as a needs help, needs support school to this year being a meets requirements, just wanted to make sure that the board knows that we're on the right track with those things that we were targeted for last year.
Thank you for that. Moving on, we need a motion, a second, and a roll call vote to close the meeting in accordance with Section 122A of the Open Meetings Act, citing the following exceptions as contained in Section 122C, student discipline, to consider approval of closed minutes, to discuss appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, and dismissal of specific employees, and to discuss litigations.
Second.
Steve Young, Dave Louds,
Yes.
John Hutchinson,
Yes.
Steve Robinson,
Yes.
Kelly Green,
Yes.
Susie Etherton,
Yes.
Daniel Kay.
Yes.
Open session.
Second.
Susie Etherton,
Yes.
Steve Robinson,
Yes.
Steve Young,
Yes.
John Hutchinson,
Yes.
Daniel Kay,
Yes.
Kelly Green,
Yes.
Dave Louds.
Yes.
We need a motion, a second, and a roll call vote to expel student D.A. from Herrin High School effective for the remainder of the 2024-2025 school year and the 2025-2026 school year, during which time the student is not allowed on any Herrin CUSD number 4 properties.
Steve Robinson,
Yes.
John Hutchinson,
Yes.
Dave Louds,
Yes.
Steve Young, Susie Etherton,
Yes.
Daniel Kay, Kelly Green.
Yes. Need a motion and a second and a roll call vote to adopt the closed minutes of the meeting held September 24th, 2024.
Second.
Dave Dave Louds,
Yes.
Susie Atherton.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
John Hutchinson.
Yes.
Kelly Green.
Yes.
Daniel Kay. Steve Young.
Yes.
We need a motion, a second, and a roll call vote to approve the following personal recommendations as presented. For paternity leave, Nick Griffith, with leave effective November 2024. Resignations, Tony Lawrence as nurse for the elementary school. Heather Miller as a co-director for the Full Service Community Schools Grant. Jalen Dowell as a reading aide for Northside Primary Center. For employment, Maggie Bailey as girls assistant basketball coach for the high school. Anthony Sipes as a part-time hall monitor for the junior high school. Vacancies to be posted: nursing instructor for the high school, a full-time nurse for the elementary school, a reading aide for Northside Primary Center.
Second.
John Hutchinson.
Yes.
Susie Atherton.
Yes.
Daniel Kay.
Yes.
Kelly Green.
Yes.
Steve Young. Dave Louds.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Having completed the items on the agenda, I need a motion, a second, and a roll call vote to adjourn the meeting until the next regular meeting of the Board of Education scheduled for Tuesday, November 26, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. in the unit office conference room.
Second.
Daniel Kay.
Yes.
John Hutchinson.
Yes.
Kelly Green.
Yes.
Dave Louds.
Yes.
Susie Atherton.
Yes.
Steve Robinson.
Yes.
Steve Young.
You want to think about it?